Night Double Feature presents Bad Crystal, a Breaking Bad podcast. On this episode, we bring you Season 4, Episode 7, Problem Dog, written and directed by Peter Gould. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Bad Crystal, a Breaking Bad podcast. I'm here with my main man, Colin. As always, we're here covering Season 4, Episode 7, Problem Dog. Colin, what's happening, baby?
What's up, dude? Nothing, just hanging out. Ready to talk about a very good, probably an S-tier episode of Breaking Bad. It's very good. Very good. So I'm excited. How you doing?
That's awesome. That's so good to hear. I'm doing good, dude. I'm doing good. I'm excited. I'm feeling better. After last week, listeners might have heard I was struggling to get through some of the episode because I was under the weather and when you have a sore throat and shit and you can't talk for extended periods of time. So I'm so anyway, Walt does this and then Walt does that, and I was like, oh shit. But now I'm feeling better this week. Which is good timing because, like I said last week, we're about to go on a generational run of episodes for this show. And as you've seen, as you've already indicated, as we've peeked behind the curtain, you've already kind of tipped your hand and showed us your thoughts of this episode. You really dug this one. Actually, speaking of behind the curtain, you messaged me last week. And you were like, dude, the next episode of Breaking Bad, holy shit.
Yeah, that's one of the only times I've ever done that, where I was like, okay, yeah, I'm very, the last, man, just that last pop when it lands is like, oh my God, that's so good.
Yeah, like I said, these next few episodes are really, when people think about Breaking Bad, when they think of the show, this is the run that we're about to go on. This is oh, okay, so that's what people have been referencing. That's what people talk about. That's the show. And Season 5 to me is the best season. I love Season 5, the way it ends. But this is to pull out the pull quote. This is the iconic stretch of the episode of the show. But let's get into it. This is a great episode because I love the way it juggles Walt and Jesse in terms of just how they deal with their own problems. Jesse's kind of sort of coming back into the light. Jesse's he's dealing with his problems. He's dealing with his stuff with Gale, and he's taking responsibility for his actions with Gale. I feel like he's really sort of I did this. It's on me. Whatever. And then on the opposite side of the coin is Walt, who is someone who's just I'm not taking any responsibility. Fuck what Skyler has to say about the car. I'm not returning it to the dealership. I'm gonna fucking do burnouts and then I'm gonna burn it. And then he's also, I don't know, he's thumbing his nose up at the authority. He's cooking the rice in the lab, which obviously makes him feel like he's king shit because he's doing it under Gus's nose.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, the reintroduction of the ricin, plus Hank's whole huge spiel at the end, which we get we finally see the true genius of Hank. I mean, we know that Hank is a proficient level DEA agent, but here he is for the first time actually showing his investigative powers and how good he is at his job. The way he lays it out to Gomez and his boss there. But yeah, man, talk to me about your thoughts on this episode. Talk to me about where how you're feeling. We're 7 episodes in. We've got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 to go in this season. Where are you? What's your head at? Where's your head at?
Yeah, good question. I think that right now it's in a very good place, but I think that also like there's some stuff that I was not expecting, because I also kind of like chart this show because I haven't seen it all the way through, is like what I do know about the show and what I'm expecting to happen, and then what actually happens is kind of like a bit of a, oh, okay, like comparison. So I was not expecting Walt to be just so like flippantly like reckless and going through like a midlife crisis, which this whole show might just be a middle-aged man's like midlife crisis. Just like some white dudes buy a boat, and some of them become meth king fans. Like, fuck it. But the show I think is in a very interesting kind of place, because all these elements are starting to really like mature. Like we've put stuff on a burner and turned it on, and we've just been letting it like kind of, gain heat, with like Jesse and Mike, and then obviously with Skyler and Walt, and then Hank's whole character arc. It's been really interesting to see all these things just kind of be turned on and left to kind of simmer, and now some of them are really starting to come to a boil. And I think it's kind of like, it made me really appreciate back when Hank got shot, because if Hank doesn't get shot, this show's a lot shorter. Like, like it's not 5 seasons long, So I think it was kind of genius that like they threw that in there to basically nerf, because it's such a good, like, you're a meth cook, excuse me, and your brother's a DEA agent, so let's put him out of commission for like 14 episodes. But I like it a lot. I like where it's going. I think there's definitely still a lot to talk about, because we've got 5 episodes in a whole season after this. So I'm excited to
an extended season.
Yeah, and then we've got Better Call Saul, El Camino. Like I'm excited to try to jump into all of that. But I think it's in an interesting place, because it's kind of like escalation wise, it's kind of where I figured it was going to be, but not so much like how the characters are acting. I didn't think we would be like, I never knew Gail was going to get shot in this show. Like, I know some things, but I didn't know that. So it's been really interesting to see. I think Jesse's probably been my favorite part so far. Jesse and Hank, because they're orbiting this bigger constellation. So I'm really interested to see where Jesse and Hank, because I also have a feeling like they're going to see each other again at some point. I'd like that. I would really like Hank and Jesse to have another interaction.
Yeah, awesome. And perhaps unsurprisingly, sorry, it's early. Aaron Paul won an Emmy for this episode.
Good. Good for him.
The moment at the Narcotics Anonymous scene is just like, it's so fucking good. Like, Aaron Paul is like on a whole nother level in this episode, dude. And like, I know people talk about Bryan Cranston a lot in this show, but like Aaron Paul, especially after a certain point in this show, like which we've just passed. I think like after he shoots Gale, Aaron Paul's level of acting just kind of like goes up a notch in this show, and it's just like, I need to like lock in. And you can like totally see him like locking in at that Narcotics Anonymous scene in this episode.
I totally agree.
But yeah, man, let's get into this. So we get this cold open, and before we even see an image from this episode, we hear the sounds of gunshots as Jesse's playing this game. I miss playing games like this.
Yeah, House of the Dead,
the plastic gun. Yeah, dude, like Time Crisis and shit.
Hell yeah.
And Jesse's like it reminds me, actually. Sorry, just really quickly. I used to work at the cinema, and like in the lobby, we used to have like a few games like this, and we used to play these like after we closed.
Hell yeah, I did the same thing at my theater. Yeah,
it was sick. And Jesse's like locked in. Do you know what game he's playing? Have you played this game?
So I didn't play the first one, but I played this. No, I did play the first one. I did a long time ago, because Thomas Jane is in it. I remember that. Thomas Jane is in the first Rage game, and then I played a little bit of the second one. They're fun, forgettable but fun.
Yeah, I was very much looking forward to that first one. I remember being very hyped because it was id Software who did like Quake and like Doom and stuff, and they were like creating like a new IP. So I was like, oh shit, all right, like Rage, let's go. And I remember being a little bit like let down, because like I think by that point Borderlands had come out, and like this was very like Rage was very Borderlands. Speaking of which, I think there's a new Borderlands out today. Borderlands
Yeah,
4.
Conan
That's
just
how.
did a Clueless
That's how.
Gamer on it. Yeah,
Oh, really? That's
yeah,
awesome. I might actually pick it up, but like, I don't know, dude, man. It's fucking. It's $100. Like,
yeah. I don't
uh,
know about all that. It's a
yeah.
bit much.
It is a bit much. I remember being obsessed with the first two Borderlands games, dude. Those games were so fun, but because like you used to like play like cooperatively with your mates and shit.
Hmm.
I don't know, but Rage was fun. Rage was fun. It was just very like I remember being very sort of like rigid. Like there wasn't like a lot of like
Hmm. Yeah,
exploration or like the world was kind of empty kind of thing. And
I feel like a better
you know,
version of the Rage game is the Mad Max game. Like the Mad Max game is
yeah,
very fun, but it's very simple. It's
yeah,
very cool.
yeah. And this was that era. I can't remember what year Mad Max came out, but no, it would have been around the time Furiosa. Oh, sorry,
Yeah, Fury
Fury Road
Road.
came out, right? So about 4 years later, maybe.
Mm.
But yeah, of course, as he's standing there shooting the simulated weapon, he's flashing back to the night that he killed Gale. And obviously, Breaking Bad being Breaking Bad, there's some incredible technical stuff here, right? Like the shot of the first person gun on
Hmm.
Jesse, which is now like a Breaking Bad staple, pretty much. We got it last episode with the shovel, like the shovel shot.
Hmm.
Um, but also, I wanted to point out that shot with like, man, the camera panning back and forth from the fake gun to Jesse's face, and then back to the gun. Except now that it's a real pistol. I was like, come on, man, Breaking Bad, you're doing some great stuff here, technically, man. Like, holy
Yeah,
shit.
I like that a lot, and just to kind of show where Jesse's head is at, where he's like, yeah, it's just part of the game now. To Jesse, it's like, that's crazy to think.
So there's some other stuff going on in this really quick scene here as well that you might that not you, Colin, but like that you the royal you might not have picked up. Jesse's house is slowly starting to become cleaner.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
you might have seen like trash bags like around like whatever. So he's kind of like I like to look at this as like uh, especially like since owning a house, this has become like very like real.
Hmm.
The dirtier my house is, the more fucked up mentally I am. Like, you know what I mean? And vice
Yeah.
versa. The more fucked up mentally I am, the dirtier my house is. Like when Steph and I cleaned our house last week because our parents were coming, unrelated.
Hmm.
When we cleaned our house up, like we just mentally felt so fucking good. And you don't really appreciate that until you have your own place, right? Like, I mean, like when you're living with your parents and your mum's like, oh, clean your fucking room. It's like, whatever, mum, I'll do it later. Sure, whatever. But like when you have your own place and you clean up your place, you mentally just start to feel so good. And like uh, understanding that concept and looking at Jesse's place and him cleaning up his place and watching him go through this like mental journey of like coming to terms with Gail's murder and taking
Hmm.
responsibility for it, it makes total sense that he's cleaning up his place. And like the house being this sort of like analogy for his mental space. What do you think about that sort of like takeaway?
I yeah, I like it. I because I noticed it as we were progressing in the show, that we were showing less and less of the house, and when we did see it, there wasn't people crawling all over it and stuff like that. So I like seeing the Jesse's kind of progress as a character, but I'm also like, I'm wondering if it's like, because if I remember correctly, Gus was going to kill Walt and Jesse, right? Or was it just Walt?
Uh, I believe it was both. I
Right.
believe it was both.
So
Yeah.
I think that as much as it sucks, I think that Jesse can almost kind of see it as like I was put in a position where I basically had which I think fucked him up even more, that he was like, I didn't even do this really of like 100% free will. Like it was kill or be killed literally. And I killed this guy, an innocent person, and it sucks. But at the same time, it was, to save my own life. So I think it's an interesting kind of thing that Jesse has been beating himself up for so long now, And I think that he's accepted it, and not in a good way. I definitely feel like Jesse has accepted it just as like a man, that's life, bitch, kind of thing. Just the cost of doing business kind of shit. I feel like Jesse's kind of like accepted it in that kind of way. But also at the same time is uh, knows that he's taking it the wrong way, knows that he's accepted it wrong. Obviously, at the end of this episode, he has that huge breakdown, and he's like trying to justify it, and they're can't justify it at all. So it's a very interesting kind of like space that I think he's in of like of being you basically, yeah, he was used to kill somebody, but also to save his and somebody else's life. So I think it's interesting to kind of see where Jesse thinks he is on like the moral spectrum.
Yeah, completely agree. And I think it's also really telling that when he dies in the game, he restarts the game. Like he goes again. Like it is kind of him facing his demons, and like exercising his demons. Like and him like having to go through that again and again. I feel like he's like really trying to like work through some shit there. I think this is a great little cold open.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, so we get the title card, and then we're at the car wash. Skyler tells Walt that Junior is pissed that the car's gone back, and Skyler says that he hasn't said a word to her. And I'm just like, Skyler, it's all right, man. Like some Cheerios or to cheer him right up, some fucking breakfast
scrambled
cereal,
eggs. Yeah,
right, exactly. The dealership didn't want to take it back, but they offered to take it back for $800. Right.
So, I mean, yeah, but that's crazy. But they could have not even taken it back. Like that's nuts. Like it's because it's technically used at this point. Like holy shit.
Walt's task is to take it back to the dealership. Skyler says, "Don't tangle with anyone," and begrudgingly, Walt tips their own staff member. Right.
Yeah. Like I'm already paying you.
Right. The look on his face too is just like, oh damn it! Like, come on, man. Hard cut to Walt just doing donuts in the parking lot, and I love this song choice by the Pretenders. I didn't know that Walt could, pull off donuts like this. Like, who are you, fucking Vin Diesel? Like, shit.
Yeah, three perfect like diagonal,
perfect donuts, dude. I'm like, holy shit! You should have like, instead of cooking meth, dude, like you should have like gone and done some drag races or some shit. Like,
you've got the mustache for it, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And he's bald, so he'll fit into the Fast and Furious franchise perfectly.
There you go.
But of course, he loses control for a brief moment and manages to get the car stuck over a bollard and into a ditch. I love the like we said, the overhead shots of the donuts, just and the car just in the ditch, and then in pure Walt fashion, we see an idea form in his head, and man, this is genuinely like so great because like it's an indicator of his pride, right? Like nobody's gonna tell him what to do with the car. He wants to do it on his own terms. He feels cheated by the dealership that they're only offering him $800 to return it, and Skyler telling him he wants to disobey Skyler as well. So he's for sure not going to give Skyler the satisfaction, and he's for sure not going to give the dealership the satisfaction. Can you imagine him going back to that dealership and being like, "I'd like to return this car," and they hand him over $800? That's not this Walt. Like maybe season 1 Walt, maybe season 2 Walt, not this one.
Right.
Not this Walt, dude.
Yeah, not this one that has seen too much now, and it's like getting a little. He's getting a little big for the pond.
Exactly. So he sits there waiting for the car to explode. Calls a cab, and he's like, "No, I'm sure he'll see me." I love a good fireball, dude. I've been watching X-Files. I've been like just kind of catching up on it, and I watched this episode where there's this like train car that like Mulder is in, and there's a bomb inside. Then he gets rescued by someone, and in the background you just see this train car just explode. It's beautiful. I love like a nice non-CG explosion.
Yeah, an actual explosion.
Right. And then we get Walt in Saul's office. He's clearly sick of Saul's talking on the phone. Saul says, I sweated him down to a misdemeanor trash burning, $5,000 fine, $3,000 to steam clean the blacktop, $600 for towing and disposal. Dude, Saul is actually a good lawyer, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like Walt just absolutely purposely destroyed this car, like publicly.
Yeah.
And like, he's just like, yeah, no, it's all good. You're all good
Well,
to go.
yeah, walked him down to a misdemeanor. Yeah, that's fucking nuts.
Walt's so over this, he doesn't want to hear the blow by blow. Walt's also here for a cash withdrawal. Saul goes to this little compartment in his office where there are phones and cash and puts a bunch of cash in a duffel bag. Walt then asks Saul if he can find a third party to ameliorate the situation.
Jesus Christ.
Saul says, "You're
Horse
talking about a
ass.
hitman." Right. Okay, so let's talk about Walt and like how quick he is now to jumping to killing people.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, like there's no other alternative. He must be removed.
Yeah. Well, I think like what Saul says of like, you know, just winging him is not going to be good for business. You know, like you don't want to just wing a man like Gus. And you know, but part of me is like they're in a situation though where they know that a month ago Gus wanted both of them dead. So it's like as crazy as it is that like Walt is jumping to murdering people, it's also like this is the level of the game. I didn't choose this. If we were just rolling each other's houses, I'd just roll your house. But we're murdering each other, and that's just kind of the name of the game when it comes to you know what these people do. It's a fucking cartel. You know, what do you expect? But just how like in terms of how we've come to know Walt, you know, season 1 Walt would be just in despair about having to do this, you know, of just ordering it, let alone having to do it. So yeah, I think it shows a lot of like growth in where Walt is at this point.
Right. How quick he is to jump to violence. Saul declines. That's what the kids would say, an epic fail. Walt tries to entice Saul, saying that there's a finder's fee because, like, Walt is a master manipulator at this point, and you don't really need to be a master manipulator to know that it takes money to get Saul's wheels turning. You know.
Mm-hmm.
But the guys that Saul knows know Mike. He knows his entire network, so Saul's guys are out of the picture. Saul suggests talking to Jesse to see if they can get to Gus. And, you know, like I said, we're here again. Walt wanting to kill someone all because of a feeling, because of an idea that he had. Like it's so tenuous, you know, like it's not even like a confirmation. Like Walt has no confirmation that Gus wants him dead at this point. You know, like
Mm-hmm.
it's all feelings, it's all assumptions, it's all I'm going to remove the obstacle without knowing that it is an obstacle. You know, like for sure. Like if you want to kill someone, you need to be 100% sure that they want to kill you. Like you know, that's
Mm-hmm. I guess it just goes back to
seems
the
bizarre
Gale
to me.
situation, you know, like
Yes, yeah.
that it's like, but is he still wanting to kill you, or does he know that okay, well, fuck, I'm just stuck with him for now? Like, yeah, it's very
Right.
much so a hunch.
If we think about the premiere of this season, which was Box Cutter, which we saw Gus, you know, pretty much threaten Walt and Jesse with the box cutter without threatening Walt and Jesse with the box cutter. Like, yeah, like I guess that sort of like threat is still lingering over Walt's mind.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely think so.
Jesse tells Walt about his meeting with Mike where Gus showed up. He says he was close to him physically and that he spoke to him. It was over in 10 seconds. He said he sees things in people. And this clearly alarms and concerns Walt. A month ago, Gus was trying to kill both of us, and now he pulls you out of the lab and employs you as what? An assistant gunman? A tough guy? Does that make any sense to you? Does he think that you're naive? He can't think you'd truly forget. Sorry. He can't think you'd truly forget, let alone Gale, let alone Victor, the man you looked straight in the eye and told you no more children. Now, I think something that's really interesting about this scene is Jesse's growth in terms of like understanding that Walt is manipulating him already.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like him immediately like clocking it and saying, "Drop the sales pitch, dude. I'll do it." Like, you know what I mean? Like Walt tries to do his like little like, let me see if I can like coax him into killing someone again.
Yeah, let's throw on
But
the old
Jesse's just
white
like,
charm.
right. But Jesse's just straight up like, nah, dude, I've seen this fucking play before. I know what you're doing.
Right.
But Jesse agrees anyway. Right? I mean, like, it's interesting because, like, I feel like Jesse is starting to lose his trust in Walt.
Sure.
Primarily because of the way Walt treats him and the way that Walt speaks to him, right? Like, I mean, no, Jesse, you can't be this kind of person. Like, you're too naive. You're too young. Like, Gus isn't gonna like trust you. Like, why would he trust you? But then, like, at the same time, Jesse's trust with Mike and Gus is increasing a little bit because they give him a loaded weapon, because they give him tasks to do,
Mhm.
because they give him some responsibility. So it's interesting that we're seeing this decrease in trust from Walt, but increase in trust from Mike and Gus.
Right.
With
Yeah,
Jesse.
and to see Jesse just kind of like in the middle being bounced back and forth is yeah, it's like a child of
Like a
divorce.
child of divorce.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Jenks, buy me a Coke, bitch. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Jesse agreeing so quickly?
I think it's I think it's troubling, like for the most part, to see because he's like just getting a lot more comfortable with the fact that he shot somebody, and I feel like he's going like I've said before, he's going about it in like the wrong way, where he's accepting it, but he's accepting it as in like that's just that's life, and it's like no man, like that doesn't have to, he's I feel like he's not setting the bar very high. He's just kind of like just getting it over with. And I think that where he's at right now is like, because it's interesting at the beginning of the episode, he's shooting the things, no problem. And he's like volunteering to kill Gus. And then at the end of the episode, he actually like totally 180s and breaks down, and has this
Yeah.
epic scene. So I think it's kind of interesting to see that I think Jesse's trying to be this guy that he's really, really not, like deep
No.
down. And he's not who Mike and Gus want him to be. And he's not who Walt thinks he is. He's just a very somewhere in the middle of that,
Well, he's not Gus, who is this cold and calculating, sociopath, and he's not Walt, who is this cold and calculating sociopath. He's someone with emotions and sympathy, and like he feels sorry for people. He has dignity. He's got respect for people. He's Jesse is the most to me the most three-dimensional character in the entire show. People will say that like Walt is their favorite character in the entire show. Absolutely, he's fantastic. But Jesse is the beating heart of the show,
Mm.
and we see that a lot in the way that he interacts with like characters like Mike and Badger and Skinny Pete and his girlfriend. Goddamn, what's his name? With the kid with Brock. I forgot. I'm
Oh, I can't
forgetting.
remember her name.
Yes. But anyway, like we see Jesse interacting with like multiple characters throughout the show with like sympathy and like gentleness, and for him to be caught up between these two titans who just want money. Like it's all about money and power and respect for
Mm.
these two titans, and Jesse's caught in the middle, and he doesn't really want money or power and respect. That's not really what he wants at this point
Hmm.
in the show.
Right, yeah, because
So
I think he's had the money part and he's had a little bit of power, but he's like I want my own. I want to do my own thing,
exactly. All right, we're at the car wash. Marie's critiquing the scents of the air fresheners. She suggests having an opening party. Calls Bogdan the eyebrows of doom.
Jesus.
um, she says that Hank's moods have improved and he is a maniac with the PT. She says there's a long way to go, but good progress. I love, Betsy Brand doesn't get a lot of time in this episode, but like I love the way that she's kind of like flipped. Like it's very clear that like Hank is doing much better and she's in a much better space.
Mm-hmm. Which is not good for
Um,
Walt.
No, which is not good for Walt. Exactly. And it's interesting what probably got Hank out of the rut that he was
Right.
in.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like it was the pursuit that got Hank out of the rut.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, 100%.
Walt arrives. He and Skyler have to play nice in front of Marie. Like this awkward kiss is like cringy as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And later we see that Walt has hidden the cash amongst the cans of Dr. Pepper and Coke. $274,000, give or take, every 2 weeks. Walt says that he makes around $7.5 million a year. And how is this a problem for Skyler? Skyler says it's too much money for them to launder. A regular car wash doesn't do anywhere near this kind of business. Washing $7 million could take years. She didn't expect this kind of money. Nobody pays a car wash in 50s. Okay, I don't have a problem with this. I think that this is all like very good, sort of like crime drama writing. Like this is good stuff. I have a problem with Skylar not being able to foresee this though. And I kind of wonder if it's like Skylar thinks that she was so good at this that she kind of like was missing the forest for the trees. Like in terms of just like, how could she not have known? Like she's and like I know that she underestimated like what exactly what was doing like in terms of like business, like and bringing her what kind of like cash she was bringing home. But I don't know. I feel like one business or one car wash, it could have been foreseeable for her. Is that?
Yeah. Well, I think that she doesn't strike me
I
as
don't
someone
hate
who.
it. I don't hate it. I just want to make that clear.
I think it's a small, interesting problem that they hit upon, but I definitely think that she's probably underconfident in what Walt is doing, the amount of money, but then overconfident in her abilities to, what do you think he's making? $100,000 a year? Like, no, this guy's making double that, and then almost a third every week.
Right.
So yeah, like the amount of businesses you'd have to buy 10 car washes to get all that money laundered through,
Exactly. Walt doesn't want to hear it. He says this is a simple division of labor and gives Skylar an option to get out, which she does not take. And then we're at the super lab. Walt's finishing up a cook and notices that he's still being followed by the CCTV camera. He goes over to a blind spot where he takes something out of a petri dish. Again, we know that it's the ricin, which we haven't seen since season 1, season 2 with the hit on Tuco. Right? I mean, like they try and put it in like the tortilla.
Oh man, I forgot all about that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I need to go back.
Yeah. I mean, like I was like also racking my brain. I'm like, oh yeah, they reintroduced the ricin, but this isn't the first time we've seen it. I remember them explaining it. Like, yeah, but well, that's it. That's it coming back. And again, like the absolute pleasure it must give Walt to kill Gus using something that he cooked up in his own lab. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm sure the irony's not lost on Walt.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like it's going to come back. It's like, dude, this is the cartel. I think they have a camera in that break room. Like I just have a small feeling like that might come back. I don't know.
We cut to Jesse, who's inspecting a clear pill with the powder inside. It's ricin. Walt says that he's making it that making it in his own lab was appropriate. And he says it's the best way. You slip it into his food or drink. There's no taste or smell. 36 hours later, he's dead. No one will be surprised. Mike can have his suspicions, but that's all there'll be. Jesse says he doesn't know when he'll see Gus again, maybe never. Walt tells him that he has to be prepared, he has to be ready. Jesse pops it into his box of cigarettes in case he's searched. And I just love the close-ups here, like of Jesse taking out the tobacco, putting the pill in the paper, and then replacing the tobacco. He says it's his lucky cigarette. Well, whatever you do, don't smoke it.
Yeah, the glass under the table and him
Oh, dude.
that's a good one.
Man.
That's like some train spotting shit.
Right. Hank and Walt Jr. I just love it's such a little small like thing. It's not like a big like tech like we get like we've talked about like the big technical aspects of the show. We've talked about a couple episodes a couple of times this episode. But this is just one of the things that I love about this show is like as they're getting out of the car, just the slow pan over and it's like they're at the restaurant, they're at Los Pollos Hermanos. I love that kind of like reveal shit because it's just immediately like, okay. It's that little like meme of like that guy sitting back in his chair and then like he's just like leaning forward locked in. Like, you know what I mean? That's what
they're getting a meal.
Does to me.
Dos ollos hermanos. You're like
Los Pollos Hermanos. Junior tells Hank about the Challenger, which gets alarm bells ringing for us as the audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Junior's like laying this out for Hank. Hank questions it, but brushes it off because it was returned, I guess. He says, "You flew too close to the sun, my friend. You should have let him buy you a clunker. You'd be driving that right now." And here's Gus, all gung-ho, greeting Hank, right?
God, those
says
pants
that
are
he
up
shouldn't
high.
pay for a meal.
Whew.
What'd you say?
Those pants are up high.
Mighty
Holy
high.
shit.
Mighty high, dude.
I was like, good lord.
You can see his junk coming all around the corner over there. Like,
wrapped around his leg. Jesus.
Speaking of which, I rewatched Do the Right Thing the other day, and Giancarlo Esposito's in that, like a really young Giancarlo Esposito. And it was so funny because like I said to Steph, I'm like, "Do you know who this is?" And she couldn't clock it. She couldn't like.
He looks very different in that movie.
I know. I'm like, that's Gus from Breaking Bad. And she's like, holy shit, I've never seen him so animated. Because he's so animated and Do the Right Thing.
Uh-huh.
You messed up my Jordans, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, like he says that Hank shouldn't pay for a meal at Los Pollos Hermanos. And then Gus turns to Junior about his mother and father, says that there's a job available at the restaurant if he wants. Now, this interplay between Hank and Gus, I love this because it's Hank being a proficient DEA agent, keeping his cards very close to his chest, and it's Gus being a proficient drug lord, trying to be hospitable to this DEA agent who he doesn't want to bring attention to himself. And it is this kind of like standoff moment, but it's only going one way because only Hank has the information,
right?
That that he suspects Gus. Gus doesn't have that information. I love going back to this moment after we find out that Hank has bagged the cup for evidence.
Yeah, it's the close up on the fingers, like it's just filling up the Coke is really good.
It's so genius. Like Gus offering to refill Hank's cup. We see the shot of Gus walking over to the soda fountain to fill it up. And then like hard cut to Hank like throwing it out. Like even before we see Hank bagging the cup for evidence, just that little like cut there of like him filling it up and then throwing it out is like just telling us that Hank's not here to play Gus's games. Like, you know, like Hank's like onto Gus. Just that little like one cut of like this nice like gesture of like him filling it up and then just like Hank just throwing it out. Like it's so good.
Immediately showing that like Hank can play it, man.
Right, exactly. We're with Mike and Jesse. Mike says, big things today. The order of the day is eyes open and mouths shut. We're here at this secluded chicken farm. There's guards standing by watching, guys with earpieces, whatever, looking important. Jesse holds that platter of or whatever. It's just hilarious. Like, it's just not what I expected
That's a little
Jesse to be
deli
holding
tray.
as he exits. Yeah, it's so funny. Mike does a quick comms test. They head inside one of these demountables, and Mike tells Jesse to make a coffee while he tells Gus about where his men are. And as Jesse goes to make a coffee, he contemplates putting the rice into the drip, but he's interrupted when Mike gives him a gun, showing that Mike trusts him enough to have one. Now, a couple of things here. Um, as we see Jesse contemplating to put the rice in, you hear that like faint sort of like ringing sound, like the
Mm-hmm.
that has happened only one time previously in this series, and that was when Walt got his lung cancer diagnosis. It's just like a cool, like little sort of like mirror, sort of like sliding doors moment for each character. Like,
Hmm.
what if this happened with Jesse?
Right.
I don't know if the two are like the two sequences are connected, or if Vince Gilligan meant it that way. It's just like one of those things of like, oh, that's really interesting that they decided to use that again.
Yeah, that is cool. Enunciate little character moment.
Right. But interestingly, do you think Jesse would have done it if Mike hadn't interrupted him?
No, I don't think so. I like not this soon. I feel like Jesse would probably try to, because there's no telling. Like, you put it in a pot of coffee and 6 guys show up and they all split it. Not really going to kill anybody, you know. So
Right. Right.
So I wonder. I bet you afterwards Jesse's like, "Fuck, I should have thrown it in there, man," because he's the only one who drank it, you know. But you know, shoulda, coulda, woulda. I don't see him doing it this time. I see him waiting and baiting his time to do it.
Okay. There's also no telling that the coffee wasn't for Mike either, because Mike asked for it, but
Right?
he didn't
Yeah.
say it was for Gus.
Right. You could poison 5 other people at the table, and they all turn around and shoot you.
Right. Gus waits alone, sipping his coffee. There's a real tension in the air as everyone waits. Eventually, an SUV pulls up and 2 guys get out. Mike tells one that they don't have. Mike tells one of the guys that they don't have to give up their guns. Asks if they want to sweep the place before they bring in their guys, and the guy says, "I am the guy." This was one of the guys who was at the hijacking at
Yeah,
the last episode,
eating that poor bastard sandwich.
eating the guy's lunch as he watched him die through the bullet hole.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna keep calling this guy the guy because he's not really named in this episode. So the guy meets with Gus. Gus is surprised that only this guy showed up. My employers feel that I can adequately represent their interests, he says. One little touch I love is that Mike sits down also when Gus invites the guy to sit. Like, it's just
Mm-hmm.
cool, like bodyguard shit, dude. Like, Mike could like easily just be standing, but I love that like Mike takes a load off as well.
Yeah, just kind of like, all right, let's bring the room down.
Right, let's bring the tension down a little bit. Gus makes a peace offering to the guy, a one-time payment of $50 million USD. It's an absolute severance, though. No more hijackings. Total separation. And I think, like, you know, by making this offering, it tells us it's clear that the cartel's involvement in the hijackings is hurting Gus. Maybe not financially, but like reputationally,
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely hurting him.
Bad for business.
Right, exactly. And the guy counters with yes or no. You know what the cartel wants. Anything else is a waste of time. This is not a negotiation. Now, we as the audience don't know what the cartel want yet. We don't know. I'm not going to expand on this further because it will be fleshed out in like the next episode, if not the one after.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's interesting that it's like left here. But the guy leaves. We don't see the conclusion of the meeting, but it's clear from the expression on Gus's face and the guy's face that the meeting did not go well. In the car, Mike asks for the gun back, and Jesse places it in the glove box. Mike tells Jesse that he should teach him how to shoot. Things are going to get hairy, he says. And Jesse questions Gus's words. What does he see in him? Mike
Mm-hmm.
says, if I had to put it in a word, I'd guess loyalty. Only maybe you got it for the wrong guy.
Yeah, I love Mike. Is probably one of my favorite characters in this. Like I love Jesse's arc, but I love Mike as a character.
Mike is so well drawn out as a character. Like he could have just easily been like Gus's like number one sort of like guy. But Mike is so good, and especially you haven't seen him in anything yet, man. Like he is so incredibly well fleshed out in Better Call Saul as well. If you love Mike, you'll love Better Call Saul. It's so I know that the show is called Better Call Saul, but at some point in that show, it becomes almost 50-50. Like you're
Oh,
following
nice.
like Saul, and then you're following Mike. It's so good.
I'll check it
Um,
out.
yeah, you should for sure. So we're outside Narcotics Anonymous. Jesse takes a moment to think about the ricin. As he goes to leave, he bumps into his old counselor, who swings Jesse into coming in. Jesse admits that he went back to Crystal and has been sober for 4 days. He says that he still works at the laundry and that it sucks ass. Now, I already covered this, but Aaron Paul is truly, truly incredible here. He talks about how he killed a dog a couple of weeks back. We see the look of disgust on some of the people's faces. He had to put the dog down, watched him go, looked him straight in the eye, didn't know what was happening. He was just scared, and then he was just gone. And then I wrote, Jesse killed little Cosette. But Jesse says he was a problem dog, right? This dog never bit anybody. He says that it wasn't the meth that made him do it. The counselor tells Jesse it's not the details that matter. And then this one woman goes in on him for killing the dog for no reason. Before Jesse does blow up, talk to me about his analogy with killing Gale with the dog. What are your thoughts on this?
uh, I think it's interesting because it's not a terrible analogy. It is just this defenseless thing that didn't know what was going on, didn't know who you were, like didn't know why, you know. So it's not a terrible analogy. It's the closest that Jesse can get without, you know. But
Telling
it
people,
also
right.
yeah. But also I go back to like if somebody pulled up and they said shoot that dog or I'm going to blow your brains out, it's like I'm probably going to shoot the dog, you know. But in this case that's where like that fallacy is like, yeah, but Gail's not really a dog. Like he's another human
Right.
being that like, you know, like I'd say the worst thing Jesse is like objectively guilty of is basically saying that his life is worth more than Gail's and like shooting him. And I think this analogy of the dog is interesting because it's him, I guess, trying to pass it under the radar to this group of people without obviously setting a bunch of people off, which by the end I think some of them are like, I don't think this guy just killed a dog, you know. I think some people are kind of like, I don't know. So I think it's an interesting analogy but not really like a super a super accurate one, and I feel like he uses that a little bit to his advantage.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think it's a great analogy. It's a great way for Jesse to exercise his demons and to face his problems head on and to communicate with people about what he did without actually revealing what he did.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good way to really, you know, like we in this scene we are seeing Jesse dealing with his problem head on. Like he's not stuffing it down into a closet or anything like that and shutting the door. He's actually wanting to talk about it and wanting to deal with it. And like sure, like, you know, when he was outside on the curb, he did like and the counselor was like, come in. Like, you know, like Jesse did like resist.
Mm-hmm.
But once he did go inside, he did like actually want to actively deal with it. And that's what I love about Jesse. Like Jesse's like really trying to work out his issues in a progressive way rather than ignore it, rather than let it fester, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And he did used to do that. He did like, obviously, he did, you know, we like the first half of this season was basically him letting the problem fester. Like, we saw the state of his house, we saw the way that he was in, like, just throwing money at people. And I don't know, man. Like, this is just such a much more healthier way to deal with it.
No, yeah, I definitely agree. It's at least the first steps towards it, you know.
Absolutely. Jesse questions why she shouldn't judge, like why this woman shouldn't judge him, right? Maybe he should have done something different. If you just do stuff and nothing happens, what's it all mean? What's the point? This whole thing is about self acceptance, so I should just stop judging and accept. So no matter what I do, hooray for me because I'm a great guy. Now, like Jesse here is like really getting into some existential shit.
Mhm.
Like Jesse's talking about like, what else could I have done? What other path could I have taken instead of killing Gale? Like, there's this like self hatred before self acceptance.
Mhm. Right, yeah, I think he's kind of on the way there of just like, you know, the whole situation is something that Jesse voluntarily got himself mixed up in. But I think now is starting to like kind of accept the fact that he's putting his anger in the wrong place. That Gus put you in a kill or be killed, Walt put you in a kill or be killed kind of like scenario. And I think he's starting to kind of like direct that anger in the right place, hopefully.
I actually think I'm remembering incorrectly. I think it was just Walt that Gus was going to kill.
Maybe you're right, because yeah, I think
And
Jesse was just kind of
replaced
collateral.
with Gale, because I don't think that like I think Gus. Sorry to the listeners, like that. I'm just kind of like messing this up because it's been quite a while since we've obviously covered the end of season 3. But from memory, I think like Gus like figured that he could easily manipulate Jesse into like doing what he wanted. So like Jesse
Mhm.
wasn't really someone that he needed to kill, whereas like Walt was someone that had to go. Like like Gale was being trained to be Walt's replacement.
Right. Maybe that, yeah,
And
that
Gale,
sounds more right. That sounds more right,
right,
that it was just Walt. Um, so yeah, that makes Jesse's thing a lot more tragic of kind of being used as a pawn.
right, right. Jesse brings up to the counselor about his own story, backing his truck up and killing his kid. Um, and yeah, like Jesse comes clean, right? He's here in the first place to sell them meth. You're nothing to me but customers. I
Oof,
made you my bitch. He's so
that's
good,
brutal.
man. Fuck.
Yeah.
You okay
Uh,
with that? You accept? Oh
well,
man,
yeah,
he's
and
great.
I love the. I feel like this is the point where the group leader is like, okay, yeah, I don't think he's talking about a dog. Like, I think he's starting to kind of understand. He's like, "No, over a dog, you know, like,
Right.
and their group leader is kind of a schmuck. I mean, you do kind of just want to smack him. And you know, I don't agree with like everything he says. But you know, I think he's a nice guy for the most part.
Yeah, except the whole killing his kid part. But yeah, I'm sure he's a nice guy.
He was like, "Oh, I was sober as a jaybird when I did that."
Back at the lab, Jesse and Walt clean up after a cook. Walt tries to covertly speak to Jesse. He says that it's been a week and what's going on. But Jesse's not really interested. He says that he hasn't seen him. Now, here we go. Here we are with Marie and Hank and Gomi in this sort of big like concluding moment. Marie drops Hank off to meet with Gomi at the DEA building, and then we're in this meeting with Gomi and Hank's boss. Gomi says that he made GS14. I looked that up. There's the levels in the FBI go up from GS1 to GS15, 15 being the highest. So Gomi's kind
Oh,
of like up
nice.
there. Yeah. Hank brings up Gale to Gomi and his boss, says that Gale is a chemistry genius. He's a nerd's nerd, vegan, sandals and socks kind of guy. His specialty product was blue. Hank thinks it's Heisenberg's former cook and maybe a line on Heisenberg himself. He shows them an image of Los Pollos' bag with the number. Turns out it's a parts number for an industrial air filtration system, a $300,000 gadget, perfect for the biggest meth lab north of the border, manufactured by a company called Madrigal Electromotive. And don't forget that name,
Hmm.
Madrigal Electromotive. Hank called Madrigal. Madrigal shipped one to a depot in Albuquerque, and it was signed by Gale. Who paid for it? Nobody paid for it. They have no record of anybody paying for it. And when Hank tries to push it further, he was met by a lawyer who asked him for his badge number. Okay, so dead end. But then he looked into it further. Madrigal's got a tiny little foothold in American fast food, Los Pollos Hermanos. And then Hank gets a crazy idea that he can't shake. He stays up nights staring at the ceiling, the napkin. Gail's a vegan. What's a vegan doing at a fried chicken joint? Maybe he's meeting somebody. Like who? Well, like maybe this guy. I love him using his walker to point at Gus.
There's a picture of Gus in the room.
Right? We can see that this slightly loses Gomez and his boss a little bit.
Mhm.
You know, like his boss is like, oh, you know, Hank, like, you know, this, like, I don't know about this. Maybe, just maybe, he's our guy. I think he was doing well. I think he was doing well up until there. He says that Hank's reaching. If a guy is meeting at is at KFC, you don't really know that he's meeting with Colonel Sanders.
Right.
And then Hank kind of lays out the smoking gun. He lays out Fring's fingerprints, the cup, the prints of the apartment match to Gustavo Fring.
Yeah, why are Gustavo Fring's fingerprints in Gail Bedeker's apartment? It's just like, oh, dude, now you're like, that's it. Like they're the first red string on the board is like, oh man,
now you're cooking. Now you're cooking with grace. You're cooking with grace, dude.
And it's a bombshell ending too, and I love that ending because it just drops. It's just like a mic drop, and they walk off, and now like Hank is like within the next few episodes is probably going to be walking unassisted, and it's just going to be so it's not looking good for Walt.
It's brilliant. I love these kinds of endings, dude. I remember having to wait week by week, agonizing week by week. Every watching this show live, like when it was airing, and I was like, God, I gotta wait next week, dude. Come on, man. But yeah, talk to me about this entire sequence. Like, what were your thoughts? Like how are you reacting to Hank's sort of like sequence of events, the way that he's like tracing it through? What are your thoughts on this?
I liked it a lot. I thought it was really very like detailed. It's backed up with a lot of like factual evidence of like, why does some company in Germany own anything to do with a fast food chain in New Mexico? Like what the fuck? That's so weird. So him kind of drawing those dots together is one thing. Just kind of showing, like, asking questions like who owns what, where does this come from, blah blah blah, is one thing. But then to actually tie the worlds of Gus Fring and Gil Bedeker together is like, oh well, now like that's the first, like you can feel it as it's like when you're chopping at that tree, and that last hit, you can hear the cracking, like So I definitely
did that fucking last week, dude. That's how I knew where you were going with this. I did that fucking last week out on that tree out there, man, with a fucking axe.
It can be fun. It can be a bitch too.
My wrist hurts, man. My wrist is killing me.
Unrelated, but but I think that's the first kind of like that's the first kind of like cracks in the foundation that now I bet you Gus has never been on their radar. They even kind of laugh at Hank when he brings it up. So I think that now, for the same reason that Hank is probably something's going on with Walt. Something's going on with this case, like blah, blah, blah. I think those cops are also like, you don't ever like rule anybody out 100%, like you don't ever, that's how people just get by under the radar. So I like the fact that they at least take him like somewhat seriously after he brings out the fingerprints. It's like, oh, well then, now we're cooking. So it was really, I think it was shot really well. That real, you get all of like Hank from the waist up and his hands on the desk, and it's similar to how they shoot Jesse in the rehab meeting. So it was really good. I liked it a lot. It's one of the better endings to the season so far, I think, in terms of like season, or not season finale, but the ending of an episode has probably been my favorite one so
up
far.
The tension. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so that's it for Problem Dog. This is a great episode. This, like I said, is part of a great run of episodes that we're going to be going on here. The next episode is called Hermanos. It's an episode that will get a few answers to some questions. I'm not going to obviously extrapolate on that here. Like we'll talk about it next episode, but yeah, Hermanos is a great episode as well. So yeah, man, like without any further ado, we'll see you guys next time on Bad Crystal or Breaking Bad podcast. Hope you enjoyed the episode. We had a great time covering it, and we'll see you next week.